Hey everyone! We are working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content and it is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button right now as we proceed. Hello and good morning Blue Jays fans. Welcome to what might be one of the most explosive trade rumors we've discussed all offseason. We're about to dive into some absolutely wild speculation involving a potential blockbuster deal that would completely reshape the Toronto roster. Discuss why Ozzie Berrios might be on his way out after a controversial end to last season, and break down which beloved Brave star could be headed to Toronto in return. Plus, we've got updates on Max Scherzer's future, and a deep dive into why Addison Barger is about to have a monster 2026 season. So jump in and let's talk some Blue Jays. First things first, and you need to hear this because it's absolutely not sure if you've caught wind of this yet, but the Atlanta Braves have missed out on multiple starting pitchers this offseason as they desperately try to figure out who they can add to their rotation, build up their roster, and make another playoff run. The Braves are clearly trying to capitalize on their championship window, while they still have superstars like Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, and the rest of their core in their prime years. Not to mention they want to squeeze one more elite season out of Chris Sale before Father Time catches up. So what are the Braves trying to do to solve their pitching problems? Well, there are some absolutely fascinating rumors starting to circulate that the Toronto Blue Jays could potentially be trading Ozzie Berrios to the Atlanta Braves. Just wrap your mind around that possibility for a moment and let it sink in. Last season, Ozzie Berrios was the Blue Jays' opening day starter, their supposed ace who was going to lead this rotation. But by the end of the season, there was apparently some kind of relationship fallout between Berrios and the organization. We don't know the complete story because these things rarely become fully public. But apparently when Berrios was quote-unquote hurt at the end of the season and subsequently moved to the bullpen, it might have been more of a situation where he was taking his ball and going home rather than a legitimate injury. If that's actually true and not just speculation, I can absolutely see why the Blue Jays would be exploring trade options. When a player checks out mentally and stops being a team player, especially during a playoff push, that's a massive red flag that organizations simply cannot ignore. Now, the other possibility is that maybe this entire situation can be smoothed over and Berrios can just get back to business and focus on pitching. He did have a genuinely rough final couple months of the season where his performance declined significantly. Maybe it's as simple as clearing the air, getting him back out there on the mound, and letting him prove himself again. But based on these trade rumors gaining traction, it seems like the Blue Jays might be seriously looking to move him, and they're apparently looking to trade him for somebody really good. Berrios has a decent-sized contract remaining with Toronto, so any trade would require some financial maneuvering and salary matching to make the numbers work. But there's one specific player on the Braves roster that Atlanta might be fed up with, a former fan favorite who could actually help the Blue Jays significantly, but would also create another roster logjam that would cause serious fallout throughout the entire organizational depth chart. That gentleman I'm talking about is none other than Ozzie Albies, the dynamic second baseman who would be an absolutely incredible target in any Berrios trade. I read about this possibility in an article from the Sporting News, and I think it's a genuinely fascinating idea that makes sense for both organizations. The proposed framework would have the Blue Jays getting Ozzie Albies plus his remaining salary, maybe a mid-level prospect as well to balance things out. And Toronto would send Ozzie Berrios and his entire contract back to Atlanta, call it even, and move on with both teams getting what they need. I think that's a very sizable and mutually beneficial trade for both parties when you really break it down. The Braves also have some promising young prospects in their system who could potentially slide into Ozzie's spot at second base and continue developing. But here's the thing that makes this so intriguing for Toronto. The Blue Jays would be getting another everyday impact bat who's been absolutely elite when healthy, provides Gold Glove caliber defense at a premium position, and brings championship pedigree and veteran leadership. But this trade creates another significant problem, and I mentioned this earlier. Unfortunately, adding Ozzie Albies means the Blue Jays would have to make some difficult decisions about their current middle infield configuration. Does this move make Andres Gimenez suddenly expendable, and do you then shift Ernie Clement over to shortstop full-time? Does it force Toronto to trade Ernie Clement, which I highly do not want to happen because I absolutely love Ernie and think we're only seeing the beginning of what he can accomplish on a baseball field. Whatever the domino effects might be, here's my bottom line assessment. Is this a smart baseball move? Absolutely yes. I think you make that trade without hesitation and then you figure out the rest of the roster construction afterward. And to that point, you could then make the argument that some of the players who get squeezed out by the Albies acquisition could be flipped for bullpen help, which the Blue Jays desperately need. It still absolutely kills me that Toronto didn't acquire a dominant closer this offseason, and I'm still seeing Mason Miller. It's just sitting over there in San Diego with a Padres team that's actively getting worse rather than better. Not to mention the fact that Yu Darvish just announced his retirement, which is another quality pitcher off San Diego's roster. The Padres are clearly in some kind of organizational chaos, and the Blue Jays should be calling about Miller constantly. Just throwing those ideas out there because this offseason has been crazy and unpredictable. So, that's my analysis of a rumor that's maybe caught a little bit of steam recently, but I don't think we're anything past the smoke level yet. There's not a legitimate fire here with actual serious negotiations happening, at least not that we know of publicly. Now let's transition to something that's probably more concrete news rather than wild speculation. Max Scherzer, the future Hall of Famer who was Toronto's Game 7 starter and kept the Blue Jays competitive in that heartbreaking World Series loss, is apparently considering not signing a contract before the season starts. Honestly, if I'm in Max's shoes, after dealing with health issues and various injuries throughout recent years, taking a couple extra months off to see which team desperately needs pitching help isn't a bad strategy at all. He's still going to get paid extremely well after what he accomplished last postseason. I don't think Scherzer will command the $12 million he made last season from the Blue Jays, but he's absolutely still a very valuable and coveted arm that contending teams will want. And here's the brilliant part of this strategy. It comes in fresh around the trade deadline when some contender's pitcher inevitably gets hurt. And Max just shows up like a hired gun, ready to light up a locker room and dominate on the mound. That might be the ultimate ticket to success at this stage of his career because eating innings over a full season definitely isn't his strong suit anymore. If you're able to knock 2 months off the regular season grind and just show up in July or August when a team desperately needs help, that's a hell of a win for whatever organization picks him up. It's almost like being a mercenary or hired gun, which honestly feels like it fits Max Scherzer's personality perfectly. He just shows up, makes an immediate impact, and goes from there. I would absolutely love to see Scherzer in a Blue Jays uniform again because watching him compete in the World Series was just pure joy, especially given his postseason excellence. But if he ends up signing before the season starts, that probably means something went wrong with his health or his market. So I'm hoping Max gets exactly what he wants. He's been an absolute pleasure to watch throughout his career. Now let's wrap up with our Better Know Your Roster segment. And today we're spotlighting Addison Barger because his incredible contributions last season deserve way more recognition. Everybody seems to forget that Barger actually wasn't even on the opening day roster to start the year. He ended up playing in 135 games for Toronto, producing a solid 1.2 wins above replacement, and he absolutely turned it up another notch near the end of the regular season, and especially during the playoffs. What did Barger accomplish in what was essentially his first full major league season? 21 home runs and 74 RBs. That's genuinely impressive production from a player who hadn't even played a complete season in the majors before. He hit .248 and just found a way to be in the lineup every single day. Both Barger and Ernie Clements cemented everyday roles on this team moving forward unless something absolutely crazy happens via trade. Barger's bat has been a complete pleasure to watch. He's clutch in big moments. He swings that thing like a freaking hurricane through the zone, really shifting his weight and generating tremendous power. It's just a pleasure watching him absolutely mash baseballs. Bam Bam is going to continue doing that for many years with the Blue Jays because he's locked up for a long time contract-wise. This was his first full major league season, which means he's not even arbitration eligible for another 2 years until 2028. I think Barger is going to be very, very good for this organization for a long time. And let's not forget about his defensive versatility. Watching him move from third base to right field reminded me of when Jose Bautista made a similar transition years ago and suddenly developed this rifle of an arm that could throw out basuiners with ease. Barger's throws from right field are reminiscent of Jesse Barfield gunning people down back in the day. His outfield assists are only going to climb if he gets to focus exclusively on right field. I think right field is where Barger should be permanently positioned unless Kazuma Okamoto needs a day off from third base. Okamoto is going to be the everyday third baseman, and having Barger's left-handed power bat hitting behind those middle-of-the-order guys paid off in absolute spades last year. The Blue Jays had a serious power problem early in the season, and Barger's 21 home runs provided immediate impact. And you absolutely cannot say enough good things about what Addison Barger did in the postseason. He appeared in 17 playoff games and hit an incredible .367 with 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. That's 22 hits during the postseason run. He was just as productive as everyone else we talk about constantly. He doesn't get the same credit because Ernie Clement and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. had such insane postseasons. But Barger was equally important as a thorn in opposing pitchers' sides. I genuinely cannot wait to see what Addison Barger can accomplish with another full season under his belt. A complete spring training to prepare properly and the confidence that comes from playoff success. I am very excited and extremely pro Addison Barger moving forward. So, on that note, who are you guys most looking forward to seeing at spring training? Keep hitting us up in the comments because we love chatting with all of you. And make sure you tune in tomorrow to the Jaybird Watching podcast because we have a wonderful special guest joining us. One of the Blue Jays minor league and roaming hitting coaches, Marcus Santa, will be on the show. He's a newly acquired coach, and we're looking forward to learning about his philosophy and how he's going to help develop the organization's young talent. If you enjoyed this breakdown of the potential Berrios Albies trade, the Max Scherzer situation, and why Addison Barger is primed for a breakout 2026, make sure you smash that like button, share this video with your fellow Blue Jays fans, and subscribe so you never miss our daily content. Drop a comment telling us if you'd make the Berrios trade. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Let's go Blue Jays!